Bad, but if
we
you
are
live, you can. All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Allison.
So I need to mute you. Where? There. Talk to me, Steve.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You still sound funny, but I'm going to take your word for it that you think you're on the right mic.
It says
Does
I am.
Does Steve sound like he's in a tin can to you guys, or does he sound normal? Hard to tell. Oh, Steve, your face just turned red.
Yeah, I just turned on webcam settings. I gotta fix that.
All right, he sounds normal. So something odd is really going on here. Let's see if I do this. Talk to me, Steve.
How do I sound now? Am I okay or am I tin canny? It's uncanny how canny he is.
I don't know why I'm hearing him twice like this, but maybe I'll just turn him down. That's one way to deal with it. What's your input setting on your Shure MVI?
4.
Okay. That is an allowable level. All right. Well, I think it's probably time for roll call. Hey, should we tell Lindsay what we forgot? No, we should tell her that privately. Dad just remembered something fun we forgot for your birthday, Linz. It's not a present.
And it'll
you would have liked it.
It'll keep.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we let her have it, right?
That's true.
Oh, dear. All right, it's time for roll call. We've got Brett and Kevin and Jill and John and Rose and Sandy and Steve and Michael. And in our sidebar, this is going to be challenging. I've got you guys in a different location because, as I was saying before we got started, we think that if we both have Wi-Fi off, everything works much better. You're not going to probably see glitches and sound crackling like some of the stuff we were getting last week. But if I turn Wi-Fi off, I can't use Sidecar to use my 12.9-inch iPad Pro as the third monitor for Discord. So now instead of you guys being over here, now you're over here. So I'm just going to turn my head 90 degrees. You guys would probably be able to deal with this. Maybe we could mirror the image or something, Steve. But that means I also have to get this close enough that I can actually see it. But I was trying to finish up roll call. We said Jill, and we got Lindsay, the daughter. And let's see, John is there, and Frank, and somebody come in and his widget bot. I'm going to guess that's probably Rose. Did I catch everybody?
Rose is in here for reals.
She is. How do I make your voice stop being weird? Why am I hearing you twice still? Well, let me do this. I'm going to just do the old-fashioned thing here and make this go to my microphone. So I'm sure I'm not hearing you. Can you talk for me one more time?
How about now? How's my voice coming in?
Yeah, Discord was managing to come through anyway for some reason, and I don't know why. All right. Well, I think we are probably ready to hit the show. Steve, are you ready?
I think I am.
All right. Let's see if I can mute you.
Oh.
What are you doing?
I didn't do that. You just actually selected me full frame.
Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Sorry.
Right.
Okay, did you put it back? Okay.
No, I can't.
Oh, you can't?
I can. I just did, yes.
Okay. It's the Steve audio button I meant to hit. Yes, we're doing new stuff. Oh, Kevin says Steve sounds amazing to me. That's good. That's good.
I think we're just going to stay full frame with me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not looking at it, so oh no, there it is. No, where do I see that? How come I don't see that on my screen?
You see that?
Change it.
I am. I'm now full frame.
Yeah, no, it's
Now
not on
you
the.
are.
Are you using the control pad, Steve? The iPhone like you're supposed to?
Yes. Oh, but it hung
Liar.
up on me.
Oh. So I can't see what our final output on that is. I see pre-show, I see 3UP, I see go live. They're buttons, but they're not showing me what we see.
Yeah, this is not working.
Don't hear Steve in Discord, but you can on YouTube. Rose says she can't hear you in Discord. Can you guys hear Steve in Discord? Oh, Kevin says Steve sounds amazing to me. I'm going to close my door. I'm getting an echo from the other room.
You don't hear me in Discord, Rose? Interesting.
Can everybody else hear Steve? Steve is loud and clear, Brett says, and so does Sandy, and so does Kevin. Okay. All right. Okay.
It could have been that brief period when you had muted me. So I'm going to mute myself and you can get going.
I want to mute you.
All right.
Feels so powerful. All right. Here we go. NosillaCast intro. There we go. And here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, August 9th, 2020, and this is show number 796. Well, we had a nice time this weekend. We had all of our kids over with all their grandkids. Everybody's been living in their own little bubbles, and we combined our bubbles briefly and had a lot of fun at our house for the first time in a long time. So the show might be a little bit shorter than usual because I took a whole weekend off, and I hope that's okay with you guys. Sorry, Stephen. Anyway. Well, this week I had Dr. Helma van der Linden on Chit Chat Across the Pond to describe to us exactly how she created the Taming the Terminal book as a software project. I struggled with whether to call this a light episode or not because it is super nerdy. But the fun thing is that you don't have to actually understand how to do what she did to really appreciate the amazing work that she did do. I personally couldn't do 80% of what she did even if I did have a PhD like she does. It was really fun to learn of all the different open source tools that made this effort possible. Bart's favorite thing about our book is that the community of open source developers who put all of these tools together and shared them with us allowed us to have our very own open source book. And that Helma did it all for the love of the community just, makes it all the icing on the top. It's a joyful listen for this podcast episode, and I hope you'll check it out. You can, of course, listen over at podfeet.com or in your podcatcher of choice by searching for Chit Chat Across the Pond or Chit Chat Across the Pond Lite. Now, I'm going to add it to the Programming by Stealth feed too, but I wanted to check first with Bart and make sure it's okay with him to give that audience something fun and nerdy to listen to while we're working on the new episodes of Taming the Terminal. Bart gave gave me an enthusiastic thumbs up on that, so I'll be pushing that out probably tomorrow. Alrighty then.
So let me check something because my little control panel froze.
Is it working?
But
okay.
I got it to come back. So
all right.
Actually, if you just go into it, do you have a back button for control surfaces?
I do, but mine is working.
Oh, it's working now. So you see...
No, mine is working, but I just can't see what you're broadcasting. So I see Steve Cam, Hindi, Allison Cam, and then 3UP just has a little picture of a TV.
I see.
And then the bottom row is Steve Audio, Pre-Show, Allison Audio, and Go Live. But I don't see a... Maybe you didn't put it in there.
I'm not sure the video for 3UP is there.
Okay.
But it's a button, I think.
Okay.
Even though the other three videos are, which is a little annoying. I'll have to check that after the show.
Okay. All righty. All right. So let's see. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do another chapter mark here. I should probably save pretty soon. If somebody would just remind me.
Yeah, if we just had a remind. Oh, there it is.
What?
Right on time. Ahead of time.
All right. It's broken, Steve. I did it.
Wait, maybe we need a comma there. If broken
I think
Steve.
he means...
If broken, comma Steve, or if broken Steve, comma.
Nice.
Both.
Right. Okay. Where's the episode?
Maybe if broken, comma Steve, comma. I did it.
Ah, there it is. Okay. Right, here we go. Muting Steve. By the way, you might want to still bring your volume down a little bit, Steve. When I stop your audio, I get a lot of hiss disappears. Keeping you muted. Thank you. Okay. Back in March, I wrote a blog post entitled, "I really don't understand why people choose Android." I wrote it because I was so frustrated that my 7-month-old Motorola G7 Android phone wasn't getting. Okay, can't start with something. I hate it when people say getting. I like the getting. Back in March, I wrote a blog post entitled, "I really don't understand why people choose Android." I wrote that blog post because I was so frustrated that my 7-month-old Motorola G7 Android phone wasn't getting recent security updates. At the time, the phone was 3 months old. Actually, it's not the phone that was 3 months old. The update. It was 3 months behind. Oh, that is what I said. All right, take 3. Take 3. Places, everybody. Back in March, I wrote a blog post entitled, "I don't really understand why people choose Android." I wrote it because I was so frustrated that my 7-month-old Motorola G7 Android phone was not getting recent security updates. At the time, the phone was 3 months behind, which is 3 updates, in getting Android 9 critical updates. I worked with Google and Motorola and never got anyone who would come close to taking responsibility for the updates. Google said it wasn't their problem because I got the phone from Motorola, and Motorola said they were at the mercy of Google on when the updates would be pushed to them. After writing the article, I posted it and I added Motorola in my tweet of frustration. Well, @moto_support answered me in a DM in which they gave me the same response that I'd gotten on the phone, which was to install the Windows-only Lenovo Moto Smart Assistant. The person did attempt to help me, but without any tools to do so, was someone named Rika. Our conversation ended with her saying on March 16th, "Let's see if there's any other option we can try here. Rika." Well, my biggest frustration with the experience was that from what I could find, this 7-month-old phone might never get updated again. Imagine my surprise when a little over a week ago, I got a DM on Twitter from Rika. That was Rika from Motorola. She wrote, "Hi, Allison. We're following up in regard to your phone. Please check under Settings, System Updates for any pending security updates for your phone. Rika." She also suggested that if that didn't work, try pulling my SIM card and trying to get the update. Well, I was really shocked that they followed up, and I was even more surprised when I checked for updates and I got Android 10. And get this, it's late July, and it was late July when I wrote this, and my Android security patch is June 1st, 2020. So I actually have an Android phone that is getting updates. I am happily shocked to say that my device is not dead to me and that Motorola support actually came through to me after all. Now, time will tell whether I'll continue to get regular updates, but after this, I'm a happy little Android user. That was a short story. I miss anything?
G&Ts are being passed around the chat room freely.
Oh, man. We had enough G&Ts this weekend.
Yes, we did. Only Kevin couldn't take his because he just had his meds.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want him getting wacky.
No. Frank, though, regularly takes his meds with G&Ts.
That's another way to go.
I don't know if that's the recommended path, but if it's working for you.
It's a method. All right. Anything else going on over there? That was pretty short. I know I didn't give you time to...
I'm guessing that is guy that popped his head in. Papa Gall.
Let's see.
Keeded?
Where? I don't see him. I don't see him.
Papa Gall. Papagal. Papa Gall.
Yeah.
Keyhead.
I don't see him.
Keydead.
Getting a lot of clicking on your line too. That's
Clicking?
really weird. Yeah. It's a little crackly. Oh, he's not in the listen area. He must be on the side somewhere. Papagal Kahad.
Kadad.
Probably.
Kadad.
Sounds like him, doesn't it? Papagal, if you are someone other than Guy, say
No,
hi.
I'm pretty sure that's Guy.
Why? Has he said anything obnoxious?
Papagal sounds a lot like the parrot name that he chooses often.
It does, but what if it is somebody new?
It could be someone else.
What's the avatar? That's the real trick. Look at the avatar and see if it's silly. What is that? Oh, it's G Cyril 1. Good job, Steve. You can click on it and find out who it is. All right. Muting Steve.
No, you hit me again. Full frame.
Sorry. All right, here we go.
I'm still full frame. Try the 3-up button. That's why it's there.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. I wish I had a picture. You can probably fix that later, right? Write yourself a note.
Yes.
All right, muting Steve. I'm sure you think I'm on the payroll of Rogue Amoeba by now. I am not. And in fact, they're not an advertiser. But this week, I want to tell you about yet another great app they make called SoundSource. This week, Rogue Amoeba released SoundSource 5, and it's even better than before. SoundSource is a menu bar app that allows you to control not only your microphone input and speaker output, but it can actually control application audio. I'll explain more about that shortly, but you may be asking what problem we're trying to solve first. If you've been a Mac user for any length of time, you know that you can control the input and output devices and alert sounds using the sound preference pane. You probably know you can view the speaker controls in your menu bar to let you switch output devices and change the volume. You may not know that holding down the Option key while clicking on the sound icon in the menu bar reveals the ability to switch your input microphone as well. While this works just fine, it's cumbersome to open sound preferences, and the menu bar app is so limited, it's really not that useful. Another big problem these days is that audio is playing from so many different applications, and we don't always want the audio to go to the same output or to be at the same volume. You may have YouTube playing in a Chrome window, audio from a VoIP call in Zoom or Skype. Your iPhone rings on your Mac and you answer it there, and maybe you've got audio coming from messages when you're screen sharing or using Discord for audio chat. Obviously, you're not doing all of these things at the same time, but each use case can require changing your output device and volume. Another problem is that your Mac may have really low volume speakers and you wish you could turn them up louder. Maybe the speakers are tinny sounding and you'd love to bring up the bass and make them sound better. Well, let's see what SoundSource can do and whether it will miraculously solve any of these problems. Small spoiler, of course it does. SoundSource is a menu bar app that will replace sound in your menu bar. Let's walk through what you'll find when you hit the SoundSource menu bar icon. When it flips down, you'll see two major sections, System and Application. System is where you'll find your output, your speakers, your headphones. Input will be your microphones, and then there's sound effects. Right off the bat, you've got quicker access to all of the controls than opening sound preferences, just by having those in your menu bar. Just like sound preferences, with these three control areas in SoundSource, you can adjust volume and redirect which device is used for the audio. But you can do a lot more than that. For example, if you tap the chevron to the right of the output controls, it reveals several options. For example, you can change the balance of your speakers. You can change the sample rate from 44.1 kilohertz to 48 kilohertz, which you normally have to open Audio MIDI setup in order to get to. And you can add audio unit effects right from SoundSource. By default, SoundSource has a 10-band equalizer turned on for the output volume, or the output profile, I should say. And the profile for the 10-band equalizer is set to flat. If you tap on it, you can change it to bass booster, for example, to make your tinny speakers sound better. Of course, there's more profiles, and you can also modify every one of the 10 bands manually. You can add many more Apple Audio Unit effects via a drop-down with effects, like reverb and compressors and more. Now, I want to mention right here that if you're already a SoundSource user, I want to point out some of the improvements in SoundSource 5 over previous versions. The most significant difference you'll notice right away is that the user interface has been drastically improved. In general, everything is much more compact. If I'd had one complaint about SoundSource 4, it was that the window was huge, but it isn't anymore. If we take the example of the 10-band equalizer I just mentioned for your sound output device, in SoundSource 4, the equalizer controls for each band were embedded in the main SoundSource window. But in SoundSource 5, you tap on the words 10-band equalizer and it pops out to the side of the window instead, so it's not taking up space until you need to access it. SoundSource 5 is full of these I'll say it yet. All right, now I'm going to fix that. SoundSource 5 is full of these space-saving improvements, and I'll mention more as I go along. Below the system controls for output, input, and sound effects, you'll find a section for applications. Speaking of space-saving in SoundSource 5, I love how you can fold up the application section when you don't need to see it. More than half the time I need to mess with my sound, it's not a specific application I want to control, so having just the system settings showing is awesome. But if you find you more often mess around with your applications, then you'll be happy to know you can hide the system settings and just see applications. Probably the coolest feature of SoundSource is that each application has its own volume control and can be muted with a single click. I find this incredibly useful in my daily life. Here's an example. This week, SpaceX had a test firing of their Starship test vehicle. The test was on again, off again over the course of 2 days. Steve was keeping tabs on it the whole time, almost like a control center. He had 4 different windows going of different views of the possible launch. And anyway, he let me know when it looked like it might be about to happen. I launched Safari and I went to the Everyday Astronauts YouTube channel and set the volume on Safari to only about 10%. Now, if I concentrated, I could hear when things were happening, but most of the time it was quiet enough that it didn't bother me. I didn't disturb my system volume, which I kept up at about 50%. By the way, watching what looked like a giant grain silo fly was really cool, and there's a link to it in the show notes. Anyway, you get to choose which applications show in SoundSource 5 by adding the Add Favorite button. Not by adding. Anyway, you get to choose which applications show in SoundSource 5 by using the Add Favorite button at the bottom left, and you can click on the star next to an app to remove it from the favorites list. You can also drag the favorite applications up and down to put them in the order that makes the most sense to you. Even if an app is not a favorite, it will show up in the list when you start to play any audio through that app, and then it'll disappear when the audio stops. In addition to being able to control each application's volume and mute them individually, you can redirect each app to a different output. Maybe you always want Apple Music to go to your nice external desk speakers, but you always want your Zoom calls to go to your headphones. No more switching back and forth. All apps go where you want them, and they stay there. Every app can have added effects, similar to how it works for system output. By default, you'll see the same 10-band equalizer, but you'll also see something called volume overdrive. I'll get to that in a minute, because first I want to explain Magic Boost. Next to every single application, you'll see a small icon. Now, I should read it the way it says it. I'll get to that in a minute. But first I want to explain something called Magic Boost. You'll see a small icon next to the volume control for the system output and all of your favorite applications you can listen to under a heading labeled Boost. That's the Magic Boost icon. When enabled, Magic Boost increases the volume of quiet audio but it leaves louder portions untouched. You can kind of think of Magic Boost as a real-time leveler. But if you want to take your speakers past what you thought they could do, then you activate what's called volume overdrive. You'll see an on-off toggle, and then you can choose from 1x to 4x volume for volume overdrive. By default, volume overdrive is set to 1x, and if you click on the 2x, it won't actually get twice as loud. Instead, you'll see the volume slider jump down halfway, but it will say 100%. I know that sounds funny, but if you move the slider up, that allows you to get very granular control over how much you overdrive the speakers. So the max of the slider is now 200%, but you could make it like 173 if you wanted. The same kind of adjustment happens when you go to 3x and 4x. Now, I think volume overdrive should probably be used sparingly to avoid distorted output, but with this level of control, it might provide an effect that helps you hear your audio better. In my testing, I set Skype to 3x with volume overdrive, and then I forgot about it. Later on, I looked back at SoundSource, and I noticed that the little speaker icon for Skype was looking decidedly shouty. They had this tiny graphic that was enough to remind me that I had changed it to something quite loud, and I was able to set it back to normal. Rogue Amoeba is best in class when it comes to the accessibility of their apps. They don't tack on accessible buttons after the fact. They start the design from the ground up with accessibility built into the foundation. I've tested SoundSource 4 before with VoiceOver, and I found that it worked really well. As I advanced through the app, it would tell me where I was, output versus input versus Safari. And when I stopped moving with the keyboard shortcuts for VoiceOver, it would tell me a lot about what I could do at that point where I had, kind of rested on something. But when I tested VoiceOver using SoundSource 5, it didn't behave as nicely as SoundSource 4. I am not an expert at VoiceOver. In fact, low novice would be a better description of my skills. So I would like to hear from some of my visually impaired buddies before I say definitively that this needs some work. It's kind of hard to describe what the problems are because I seem to get inconsistent results. The focus would jump around somewhat unpredictably one time through, and then the next time it seemed to follow a natural progression that made sense. Sometimes buttons told me their function, and then the next time the same button would simply say, I'm a toggle, just guess what I am. Anyway, I'm sure I'd sure like someone more skilled than me to take a walk through it. If you do have voiceover skills and you check out SoundSource 5, please let me know how it works for you. I have sent my questions on this over to Rogue Amoeba, and they said they were able to reproduce some of the problems I was seeing, so I'm sure they'll get this sorted, and it sounds like maybe I'm on to something here. But again, I'm not that good at voiceover, so I hate to say this doesn't work. I explained earlier that you can add favorite apps to SoundSource to control their audio, and under that same button, you can add special sources. These include Finder, Siri, text-to-speech, and VoiceOver. Having the ability to separately control the volume and sound profile for Siri and VoiceOver is pretty handy. I said up front that the new interface for SoundSource 5 is much more compact than its predecessor, but they even provided a window resize button that squishes it up even more. I love this because you can have it nice and wide when you're modifying things like the equalizer and all the other effects, but then you can make it nice and tight with just what you need showing the rest of the time when you're just using it to change things. A nice touch with Rogue Amoeba applications is that you can often tear off their windows so they can be floating. With SoundSource as a menu bar app, it pops down and then back out of the way when you click off of it or you hit escape. But I need to use SoundSource so often, I usually tear it off so that it floats at a location of my choosing, and I always have access to its controls. It's nice that I can tighten it up and make it smaller now. SoundSource 5 comes with a few optional extra menu bar icons that might be useful. The main icon looks almost exactly like the system volume icon, and you used to be able to toggle it to a different look so you wouldn't get confused with the regular audio button, but for some reason they took that out. Maybe they're really encouraging us to just disable the normal sound icon in our menu bars. In SoundSource 5 preferences, you can enable 3 different menu bar meters for the default output device, the default input device, and active applications. Now, the first two are kind of obvious. You get a microphone icon and a speaker icon. And if audio is flowing through to either of those, a little meter next to them bounces up and down. In addition, clicking on those icons instantly disables their audio. This means you have a really quick way to mute your mic, which is something we all need. You can also choose to show active applications. Now, don't get worried, this isn't going to be all of your applications, it's just whichever ones are making noise. So let's say you start playing a YouTube video in Chrome, a little monochrome version of the Chrome icon will appear. The meter is helpful, but even better, clicking on that icon instantly mutes Chrome. How many times has an app started to autoplay and you were scrambling for how to shut it up? Well, SoundSource could come in really handy for that. In my testing, I had a lot of trouble controlling Safari using SoundSource 5. It didn't respond to trying to mute it or control the volume. It also didn't show up in the menu bar for me when audio was playing. But here's the good news. I filed a bug report with Rogue Amoeba, and in a few hours they were able to replicate the issues, and they're working on a fix as we speak. Like I mentioned, SoundSource 5 just came out. It's brand new. Now I want to talk to you about my new favorite use case. When Steve and I do the live show, we have a nuisance level problem for which I've been seeking a solution for the past couple of years. It's a nuisance, but it really gets on my nerve. It's like 1,000 paper cuts. During the pre-show, before the video goes live on YouTube, we like to chat in audio to people listening in the Discord app. That's where we have our live chat. So they can hear us, we can hear each other, and they type back to us. When the show goes live, though, we switch over to chatting using Mimo Live, the software that puts all the different video and audio sources together for YouTube. If we keep our headphones active on both Discord and Mimo Live the entire time, we hear each other twice, but with a slight delay, which is super annoying. So every time we switch from Discord to Mimo Live, back to Discord, every time we switch, which is 3 times per show, we both have to tell a given app to not let audio go to our headphones. So we're switching it on one, off on the other one, off on that one, on the other one, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like I said, it's just a nuisance, but on Discord alone, it's actually 4 mouse clicks. That gets old really fast. Well, I was showing Steve SoundSource 5, and we simultaneously realized that SoundSource is the perfect solution for this because both applications will show on our menu bar. So we just 1 click to mute Discord, 1 click to unmute Mimo Live. Now that's about as efficient as it could be. Now I know that isn't a top use case for you, but I bet if you start messing around with SoundSource, I'm sure you'll find your own interesting problems to be solved. SoundSource runs on macOS 10.13, that's High Sierra and up, with a free, fully functional trial available for download. I just tested it on the public beta of Big Sur, and it's not running there yet, but I'm sure they'll be working on it. They're always the type of people who are right on board when things get started, so by the time Big Sur is out, I'm sure it'll be working. SoundSource is normally only $39, but it's on sale for an introductory price with SoundSource 5. As of right now, it's $29. If you own a license of SoundSource 4, you can also get an upgrade to SoundSource 5 for only $19. If you bought SoundSource 4 after May 1st, it's a free upgrade. I was really glad to see that since I bought Steve a copy of SoundSource 4 just last week. So now he's upgraded to SoundSource 5 and he's loving it. I love SoundSource, and I've been able to find some really creative solutions to my problems with it, so maybe you will too. Alrighty.
That was a long one.
It was.
So there was a lot of discussion. We've probably had 50 messages sent you. But
let's see. No, you've had 135 since I
okay.
started.
So most recently about height. And amazingly, Guy is not the tallest in his family. But what was the phrase your friend Linda used to always say, who's 4'11"?
Oh,
4'11" and a half.
People ask her how tall she was. And she was in her 60s the last time I heard her say this. She'd say, "I'm not 5 foot yet."
That's it, yet. But she's waiting. But this is interesting. And I'm surprised we didn't know this. Guy's father used to say a little, I guess, I thought it was a poem, but he says it was a song, and it had to do with peas.
Oh, I eat my peas with honey. I've done it all my life. It makes the peas taste funny, but it keeps them on my knife.
So it's exactly and his dad used to sing that to him.
Oh my God, is he actually my brother?
Well, I'm wondering, and his dad was much older, was 50 when when Guy was born. And your dad was probably, what, 45 or 6?
No, he was 39.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a lot older than Guy, so my dad and his dad might have been around the same age.
Well, his dad was in World War II as a Marine merchant.
What year was your dad born? 1910.
1910.
Oh, so he's older. My dad was born in 1919. Wow. So my father, speaking of height, my father also had a lot of weird things he would say that we never understood what they meant. And one of them was when he was mad at you, he'd say, "I'm going to cut you off too short to hang up."
Hang you up.
No, "I'm going to cut you off too short to hang up."
To hang up.
Yeah.
Like the phone?
I don't know. I mean, I think
you.
he meant like to hang you up. But even if you said it that way, that's not like it makes any sense.
Right. Well, it makes maybe a little more sense, but still not much.
Did your dad ever say that, Guy? Did he have that one? He had a lot of them, though. He liked saying slicker than snot on a doorknob. My mother hated that one. Blacker than the inside of a black cat. Blacker than a well-digger. Darker
boot.
than a well-digger's boot.
That's right.
I don't know. All right. Frank, I did not have time to look at your pledge break. I'm going to do one of my own. Muting Steve. If you enjoy the podcast, and I've got to assume you do because you are listening to this. I mean, I guess you could just really hate yourself and listen to things you don't like, but let's just take a guess here and suggest that you enjoy the podcast. I'd like you to consider making a donation to the show. Now, if you don't want to make a continuing contribution through Patreon, maybe you just want to make a one-time donation. We have that option too. Just go to podfeed.com/PayPal. and pick a dollar or new Israeli shekel or Malaysian ringgit, any kind of amount in your currency that's right for you and your family. I'd really appreciate the help, and hopefully not listening to any ads makes it worth it to you to help support the show. That's about the shortest ad I've ever done, Steve. Alrighty. What podcast? Wait, there's a podcast? I would totally listen to that. Rogue Amoeba apps work. No Rogue Amoeba apps work with Big Sur?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Saying.
That could be. I wonder if they're, you know what, guys? It might be something in their ACE. They've got a product called ACE. It's their audio capture engine. Guy knows that, I'm sure, but for everybody else, it might be something in that.
Maybe they changed the ACE compatibility with...
Yeah, maybe
Big
they just
Sur.
haven't updated. Yeah. Do you have anything specifically that you've seen that says that they don't, Guy? I would be interested in reading that. But they always have.
Oh, Paul sent it.
Oh, he
said
did?
it. Paul said it.
Said it to you? Okay. I wouldn't, worry our pretty little heads about it. I mean, they said the public beta was going to be out in July, and then it came out in August. So,
And they're pretty good with their apps updating.
yeah. Oh, yeah. They're always ready on time. I'm not going to lose any sleep, but we may not get to. I mean, I'm definitely not going to make that my production machine even on day one.
Yeah.
But I have it on my spare. One of the things I really love. Jill is in the audience tonight,
Yeah,
right?
she is.
Wait, where'd she go?
She's here. She's just not in the line. Oh, wait. Did she
I think
pop
my
out?
thing isn't updating. She was here, right?
She was here. I don't see her. Maybe she had
Jill.
to go.
Anyway,
Jill, are you there?
I sold her my 2013 MacBook Pro, and it's not silicone. Silicon. Silicone, that's rubber. Silicon. I sold Jill my 2013 MacBook Pro.
Jill's back.
Oh, there she is. And I was really excited to see that it was still supported with Big Sur. So that means that usually they do 3 revs back from that, which means she could potentially be using that into, with security updates. Let's say they stop after Big Sur, that would still be like 2022 on a 2013. I mean, that's some serious some lifetime. Early 2013 MacBook Pros are not covered, but this was a late 2013. So
Jill had a cat issue.
Uh-oh. I have a cat issue. I'm worried about my cat. But no time to talk about that. Muting Steve. Here we go. All right. As a card-carrying Apple fan, you would think that I would be a big promoter of Apple Messages, but I'm not. I seriously dislike this app. Instead of Messages, my preferred communication tool is an app called Telegram from telegram.org. It's been one of my missions over the last 5 years to convert everyone with whom I ever want to chat over to Telegram. But in order to convince you, I must provide a problem to be solved. So let's make a nice list of everything annoying about Apple Messages, shall we? As much as I love Apple's products, I don't think anyone should be forced to use them. If you love Android, no judging. I'm glad and I'm really happy you have something you love. You know what? Windows lovers are people too, right? Diversity is what makes the world a better place. Apple's Messages app can send text and other data to Apple Messages or Apple devices using iMessage. Nope, messed that up. Apple's Messages app can send text and other data to Apple devices using iMessage. But if we write to our Android brethren, the information is sent over SMS and SMS and MMS. When we write to Apple people, we get a blue bubble, and when we write to Android people, it turns green. Now, if the same information could be sent to green or blue bubble people, you would think that we could all live in harmony, but the bubble color actually matters. Those colors matter because message threads get all tangled up all the time when you have a group of people of diverse colors talking to each other. I know young college student relatives of mine that have given up on Android because their friends end up leaving them out of conversations and events because it's so hard to fix when it breaks. And one of my favorite problems is when Messages gives me a green bubble when I know darn well the person that I'm writing to uses iOS. I'm using favorite in air quotes there. A perfect example of that is Mike Potter, who runs MacStock, comes up green for me. And so I try to send him stuff and it doesn't work because if it's turning green, that means it's gotten messed up. Also, I use my Mac a lot to write on Messages, and I often have trouble when I try to write to a green bubble person. It pretends to work, but hours later I look and I see the dreaded red exclamation point telling me, yeah, I never sent your message. You want to try again? It's just been sitting there doing nothing. I don't understand why it works sometimes and not other times, because sometimes I can write to green bubble people. Often I can respond to a message from them, but I can't start a conversation. It's annoying as all get out. I want a tool where everyone can play together and there are no second-class citizens. Speaking of tangled threads, Messages is the master at this. Last week, Steve and I had a very short 3-way conversation in Messages with his mother, Merlee. All 3 of us are on iOS and macOS, so there's no excuses even about a green bubble person being the problem. I looked at my phone and I had 2 message threads. One was called Steve and Merlee. The other one was called Merlee and Steve. They were the same conversation, but broken up into 2 message threads. So like every other message was coming in different threads. Like, come on. It's like, well, they did like 6 messages back and forth, and it got tangled. Oh, this was a good one. One time I was talking to Dave Hamilton, one-on-one in Messages, and all of a sudden he noticed there was a third person injected into the conversation, and he didn't recognize the number. Well, I did. It was my son-in-law, who I absolutely had not added to the conversation. And my favorite thing, though, is when there's a message thread on one device that's simply not even there on another device. Drives me bananas. Let's talk about search next. We have a message group called Paris Gang with our friends Dean and Suzanne. On my phone, if I search for Paris Gang, the group comes up with the latest conversation. On my Mac, if I search for Paris Gang, it does not find it. However, if I type in Dean's name, it will find Dean, but it'll also show me the Paris Gang group that it couldn't find under the words Paris Gang. Well, recently I wanted to find a message my daughter Lindsay Tondi had sent to me. On my Mac, I tried searching for an unusual keyword so I could get right to the message, but it didn't return any results. I don't use messages often, so Lindsay wasn't visible in the top of the list, so instead I did a search for Lindsay Tondi. Returned one result. It was a text message notification thread from FedEx. I can't search for Lindsay Tondi. Can't do it. Nope. I can search, can't find her. And no, I didn't accidentally use her maiden name, which I do all the time. Like last week when I sent her flowers for her birthday at work, I sent it to her maiden name to Lindsay Tondi, and it didn't, I'm sorry, to Lindsay Sheridan, and it didn't find her. But this time I really was searching for Lindsay Tondi. Maybe she's wrong in my address book. Anyway, how many times a day do you have to write oops and then retype? You know, I'm going to check that. That's going to drive me crazy. I don't want to say that if that's not the thing. So if I look at my contacts, don't want to be sharing my screen in a way that that's going to come up. Good. It didn't. Lindsay. Just making sure. Nope. Okay. Just double checking because I do mess it up all the time. Let's see. And no, I didn't accidentally. I can't search for Lindsay Tondi. Can't do it. Nope. I can search. Can't find her. Returned one result. It was a text message notification thread from FedEx. Yeah, so that's great. I can't use search to find my own daughter. All right, how many times a day do you have to write oops and retype something in messages? All the time, right? You write something wrong or autocorrect or, anything, any number of reasons you'd have a mistaken thing written into messages. And why can't we edit what we've written? There's even a standard format now for correcting yourself. Don't know if you know this. You put a star on the next message followed by the corrected term or phrase. I suppose we'd lose the fun of stupid autocorrect if we were able to edit our messages, but still, why can't we edit what we've written? Now, what about those times you write something and then realize you sent it to the wrong person? Why can't we delete what we've incorrectly sent? I get a big kick out of a well-executed animated GIF. In the live show chat room, Jason is the master of finding the perfect GIF to fold into the conversation. In fact, I'm going to watch the messages right now and see if he's, I'm not sure if he's even there tonight, but he just always comes up with the perfect animated GIF, and they're hilarious. But you know what makes me crazy? When they don't stop animating. Apple Messages on my Mac are constantly jumping around, wiggling away, pulling my attention from what I'm trying to concentrate on. It's like those annoying ads that jump around when you're trying to read on a web page. So my solution is I just quit Messages most of the time on my Mac. Why can't we just make those animations stop? About the only thing I have good to say about Messages is that they read out loud in my headphones, which is kind of nice when I'm out for one of my long exercise walks. But then people start doing those annoying tapbacks, so I'll hear, Filbert laughed at a message. I don't even know what message Filbert thought was so funny, but I get to hear him saying he laughed at a message. I distinctly do not like tapbacks for that reason. All right, maybe all of these things don't bother you as much as they bother me, but I'm sure you've had some of these problems. But you're probably telling me Messages is fine. Messages is where your friends and your family already are. And to be honest, most of my friends and family are on Apple devices. So I don't really have that many green bubble people. But you just putting up with fine while really annoying, that's not good enough. Imagine a world where you got them to switch to something much better and all of these problems melted away and you got so much more out of messaging. All right, let's start with like an elevator speech of how Telegram is so much better. First of all, it's cross-platform. It runs on all the Apple gear, runs on Android, runs on Windows, runs on Linux, and there are no blue-green bubble wars. Everybody gets to play together on an even playing field. Number two, the syncing between devices is nearly instantaneous on Telegram. And guess what? Telegram message threads never get tangled. Absolutely never, ever, ever. Seriously, never happens. I've never had a thread get tangled. You can also edit what you've written in Telegram. Pooh, think of that. You can fix typos. You can finish that sentence where you accidentally hit enter before you meant to send. It's absolutely glorious. If you're on iOS, iPad OS, you just tap and hold and it reveals the edit menu. I assume it's the same on Android. And on the Mac, you can just use the up arrow to edit the last thing you wrote. Clearly, there's some Unix Linux nerds writing for Telegram. You can also delete messages. And not just for you, but for the other person too. This may be my favorite feature. One of the things I do all the time is I write a series of messages to Bart or Helma about some coding problem I'm having, and suddenly I see the solution because I've been describing the problem to them. Well, see, they're asleep anyway when I'm coding, so I just delete all of these messages and they never have to be bothered with me writing, "Never mind," at the end. I just delete just for, you can also delete just for yourself. Maybe someone sent you a food picture. You really dislike food pictures of, say, meat like I do. You can delete it, but only for you so you don't hurt their feelings. I used to delete animated GIFs right after they were sent, but I don't have to do that anymore because a recent update to Telegram allows you in preferences to stop animated GIFs from animating after one cycle. That way you get all of the joy and none of the annoyance. This feature brings me great happiness. One of the challenges with messaging in general is finding the person you want to chat with. In messages, you do have search, which works some of the time, but certainly not all of the time, like I've described. But in Telegram, you have real organizational capabilities. Just like with messages, you can create groups, but you can name these groups okay, I've stumbled too many times. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to stop and see if anything fun. Oh, what's my daddy doing? My mom and dad there. We all going down memory lane?
Well, Guy posted a photo of his parents from 61, was it?
Mm.
So I thought I'd throw
one of the
in.
challenges.
We're all going back down memory lane for a moment
Well,
while you
good.
talk.
Did Lindsay post pictures of her parents?
No. No, she did not.
You could post that picture I put on Facebook of Lindsay's birthday.
Which one was that?
It's got 102 likes, for crying out loud. You don't remember? It's the two of us looking down at her.
Oh.
I'll mute
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, good luck. All right. One of the challenges with messaging is finding the person you want to chat with in your list if you have a lot of people in there. In messages, you do have search, which works some of the time, but I think I've proven not all of the time. But in Telegram, you have real organizational capabilities. Just like with messages, you can create groups, but you can name these groups and give them fun avatars out of any image you like. You can create chat folders that in turn can contain individuals and groups. I have a lot of family members in Telegram now and group combinations of them. I was able to put them in their own folder so they're not all mixed in with my friends. There's a few standard folders you can enable too, one for unread, which is nice, and one for personal, which is all of your non-group chats. Now I know I'm a big old grouch when it comes to animated GIFs and tapbacks, but I do really like how easy it is to add some fun to your conversations with Telegram. With Telegram, you can use stickers, which are giant static or animated cartoon images. I don't know why these make me happy, but they really do. If you're an animated GIF fan and you're not a rock star at it like Jason, you'll love that Telegram has GIF search built right into it with a great visual display of the different GIFs in a nice grid. I'm not a fan of emoji, I am a fan of emoji. Don't say not if you're not. I'm a fan of emoji, but I am so not good at it. On Telegram for Mac, you can get a view of all of the available emoji. You can do a search and even choose to deliver the emoji in giant animated form. In settings, you can even choose to have Telegram suggest a similar sticker before you send your emoji. For example, I can choose the emoji with the sunglasses on it, and if I do that, I get offered a woman with a boombox and sunglasses, a snail wearing sunglasses, a little rubber yellow ducky with sunglasses, a crab with a martini wearing sunglasses. Anyway, you get the idea. Let's face it, it's fun and we need more fun in our lives right now. Like any messaging app, you can send photos and videos and any kind of document through Telegram. But with Telegram, you have a 2 gigabyte limit on what you can upload per item. Seriously, you can send giant video files if you want. These files sit on their server unless you choose to download them. Well, they still sit on the server, but you can choose to download them, but you don't actually get them into your library. They don't go on your computer if you don't ask for them. I remember getting really annoyed when I discovered that by default, WhatsApp downloads any messages you're sent into your photos library. And so I found photos of meat in my photos library, and I don't like photos of meat. Telegram also lets you choose how to send files, with or without compression. So if you want to send some dumb little screenshot or photo to someone, as you drag the image onto the Telegram window, you get 2 options: send without compression or send in a quick way. 90% of the time I send an image, I just send it the quick way. But when I was sharing my awesome photo of Comet Neowise that I captured with my iPhone, I didn't want it full of artifacts and compression. With Telegram, I was able to send without compression, and it looked gorgeous on the receiver's ends. The one time my family will flip back to messages is if we want to share a live photo. Sadly, Telegram doesn't yet support maintaining the liveness, and sometimes you just got to see that precious moment captured in the live photo. With Telegram, you could record and exchange audio messages, which I do often with my buddy Nightwise. You can also do video messages, but there are these weird little circular videos. It's really odd. I don't do them very often. With Telegram, you can even make voice calls, which is pretty slick, but iMessages has this as well. I complained about search in messages, but I have nothing but good things to say about search in Telegram. Lindsay recently used the words okie dokie in a recent message. I can do a global search in Telegram for dokie, and it shows me all Telegram users with dokie in their usernames and all of the messages anyone has ever sent me using that word. It's kind of funny. It turns out a lot of my friends say okie dokie. Diane, Helma, Stephen, Dorothy, Bart, Steve, Pat, and my son Kyle, Klaus, and Kaylee have all written it to me, and I actually found a lot of messages I sent that said okie dokie in them. But let's say I only want to find where Lindsay said okie dokie. I can open the chat window for her conversations with her, and at the top of the chat window, Telegram has another search button that allows me to search just my conversations with her. You can even go back via a calendar view and say, look for messages on a specific date. Compare that to messages that can't even find Lindsay, much less Lindsay saying okie dokie. Remember I said that Telegram stores the images and videos you send and receive in their cloud? Well, if you select the info option on someone's avatar, you can see sorted into little tidy tabs every bit of media, images and videos, files, links, audio, voice, and GIFs you've ever exchanged with that person and any groups of which they are a member. It's really cool. I mean, you can get so much great information. Now, it's about time I try to answer a question I'm sure many are asking. What about security? Now, I'm not a security expert, and while I've read a lot about the security of Telegram, I'm just worried I'm not going to be able to explain this very well. I do know that if you're a member of the State Department or the CEO of a major corporation or maybe a protester, then the tool you want to use is called Signal from signal.org. Now, with that set aside, Telegram does have a secret chat option, and all messages sent through this option use end-to-end encryption. I believe there's a concern in the security community that Telegram rolled their own encryption, though, and they won't let anyone see the algorithm, which makes security experts less confident. They haven't found anything wrong, but when they can't see inside it, it's harder to say that it's done well. Now, they do use the industry standard Diffie-Hellman key exchange. Secret messages are device-specific and are not stored in the Telegram cloud. You can also set self-destruct timers on your messages, deleting them on both ends for another layer of security. Of course, someone could take a screenshot of a message, but there's really not much to be done about that. They do also support end-to-end encrypted voice calls. But what if you don't use the secret chat option? Does that mean that Telegram would give up your data to a nefarious government? Well, they've made that really difficult. I'm going to quote their FAQ. To protect the data that is not covered by end-to-end encryption, Telegram uses a distributed infrastructure. Cloud chat data is stored in multiple data centers around the globe that are controlled by different legal entities spread across different jurisdictions. The relevant decryption keys are split into parts and are never kept in the same place as the data they protect. As a result, several court orders from different jurisdictions are required to force us to give up any data. Thanks to this structure, we can ensure that no single government or bloc of like-minded countries can intrude on people's privacy and freedom of expression. Telegram can be forced to give up data only if an issue is grave and universal enough to pass the scrutiny of several different legal systems around the world. To this day, we have disclosed 0 bytes of user data to third parties, including governments. Well, I feel pretty good about that, so I'm choosing to use Telegram, but you know what? Everybody has to make their own decision. Well, the next obvious question is, wait a minute, why is this free then? Telegram is supported financially and ideologically by a man named Pavel Durov. His brother Nikolai developed their data protocol and made the API open for anyone to develop applications for it. The Telegram team had to flee Russia due to its local IT regulations, and they're now in Dubai. Pavel says that the app will never have ads, it will not have marketing, but he may charge for additional services someday. Now, there's one more thing I really like about Telegram. You do register using a phone number, but you can set your privacy such that you can only be searched for by your username, unless someone already has you by your phone number in your address book. This means I can tell you I go by @Podfeet in Telegram, and hey, you can come say hi to me there. But you can't find my phone number, and if you annoy me, I can block you never to be seen or heard from again. It is literally the best of both worlds for me. The bottom line is that all but a very few friends of mine have followed me over to Telegram, and after a little bit of use, they've come to really enjoy it. David is one of my last holdouts, but maybe this explanation will turn him to the light. I hope I've made a compelling argument so that you too could diminish your use of messages, leave the tangled threads, the blue-green bubble wars, and the lack of search behind. Join me. It's fun in Telegram.
Wow, you made quite a case for Telegram there.
I did, and you guys wrote 133 more messages.
Yeah.
Your wife cut your hair, Kevin?
Yeah.
What else did I miss?
A lot of talk about hair and cats and weddings of parents and cats. More cats.
Oh, there's the picture of us.
Yeah,
who's Payon?
Payon just joined the server, and I tried to get he or she to
say hi.
Say something. No response yet. Unless I missed it. Could have missed it. But
Says
welcome,
no
Payon.
roles.
We're glad to have you here.
Payon
I'm
hasn't
Michael.
said anything back.
Oh, Payon just responded. Which Michael?
Michael?
We have a couple.
Well, we might have a new Michael, it sounds like.
It could be. Probably is
Hi,
a new
Michael.
Michael.
How exciting.
Another Michael.
Yep. Well, we have enough Johns, and we have a fair number of Michaels,
Phrasing.
but I think there's room for more Michaels, right?
Another
Yeah,
Michael.
so that's Mike Price.
That's Mike Price.
And West Bay Stars is Michael.
So we're
right.
going for the trifecta.
I like it.
Michael Babcock, a new Michael on the Oregon coast. Well, welcome.
Oh, Michael. Babcock. I've talked to you before, right?
Fantastic. Glad to have you here.
I have definitely talked to Michael before. Am I right?
I'm checking.
No, you may not know. I think we've talked in email. Well, you dropped me a comment on Wise. Okay. Very cool. All right, I'm going to wind us up here. Let's see, where am I here? All right, muting Steve. All right. Wait. There we go. All right. I got to remember to not screw that up. Here we go. Kevin. Wow, that's short. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions. You can do that by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. And you can always follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. Want to join our Patreon? Podfeed.com/Patreon. Want to do that one-time donation I talked about? Podfeed.com/PayPal. Want to join our Facebook group? Podfeed.com/Facebook. Want to join our Slack group where Bart hangs out? Podfeed.com/Slack. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show like Michael Babcock did for the first time, dagnabbit, don't mispronounce somebody's name when you're trying to give them a shout out. And if you... There we go. I'm not going to do that last article, obviously, Steve. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show like Michael Babcock did, head on over to podfeed.com. I didn't say today. Time. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show like Michael Babcock did for the first time today, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. There we go.
Show.
You can buy those Mac Pro wheels from OWC and donate the savings to Podfeed. I like it. I have.
How much are they charging for the Mac Pro wheels?
Well, they're $100 a piece normally, right?
$100. What do you mean a piece for each wheel?
Yes, they're $400.
Wow. Can you buy just one? You have to buy a set of 4. I mean, what good is one? I guess if one breaks and you have to replace it.
So ATP, the Accidental Tech podcast, came out with a new shirt, and it has pictures of all the different Mac Pros that have been out, like little icons of them. And the Mac Pro, they sold the shirt for $4 more if you got the Mac Pro with the wheels on than the wheels, no wheels. And of course, I bought the one with the wheels. I thought that was really creative.
They had nod to the priciness of the Mac Pro.
Yeah, exactly.
It even flows through the T-shirts.
I thought that was hilarious. Well, we didn't have much time to chat here. Oh, but it's 6:05.
Yeah, we held class a little bit late, but thanks for joining us, Michael Babcock.
Yeah,
and all the other Michaels too.
Unicycle version,
right? A tiny unicycle.
Well, everybody. Oh, Wheels has wheels.
Yeah, he's got the wheels.
How many wheels do you have? Do you have 4? Can you do a wheelie? I would like to see you do more videos like the one you did of... Did you ever post anyplace else your... Oh, good, Michael. Did you ever post your video, Frank, of... what was it called? Like From My Eyes or... My View or whatever.
My Perspective. Yeah, that video was really good. Well,
so
it was
good.
It was part of the MacStock. Was it part of the MacStock?
Yeah, it was featured on MacStack. It was so good.
That was really well done. You can tell he's got some filmmaking experience.
It was really interesting.
No?
It was
Wait. No, what?
John enjoyed it too. No, he didn't post it. You should.
What? I thought he did.
I don't think he did. All right, taking that out of there, saving that, send that back to the blog.
No wheelies.
No on wheelies.
Ah.
All right. I'm actually ahead of the game. I thought I might need to write another post for tonight.
A View From My Eyes.
Yes. It was so interesting. I really, really liked it, Frank. Have you posted it anywhere, though, is the question. Is it up on the YouTubes? NC number 797 for next week. Appropriate number of chapter marks. Well, let's count. It should be pretty easy to count. I got like 3 or 4, I think. Let's see. 4. I got Chit Chat, Motorola, SoundSource, and Telegram.
That sounds right. I had 5, but we didn't do that one, so I am assuming that's next week.
Yeah.
Good.
There we go. Fixed
he's
it.
talking
All right,
to
guys.
Apple. Oh, he hasn't, but he's talking to Apple. I assume about the video. That would be cool.
Oh, that would be cool. Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't waste it on the YouTubes if you can get Apple to like it. You would let us know, I hope.
Or maybe commission a new film for Apple, or like one that.
That would be cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think we should let class go. It is late.
It is.
I got a show to produce here. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Have a great week.
Oh, Sandy. Lindsay was cold last night, and I gave her your quilted blanket, and she went bananas at how beautiful it was. Is Lindsay still here?
I don't
She
think she
just
is.
loved it. She's showing in the sidebar. I don't know if she's still chatting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she
But,
is. Okay.
Yeah, there she is. Yeah, it was just gorgeous. It was warm and cozy too, right? Even better. All right. Well, now I really will let class go. All right, Steve, take us out.
All
Goodbye,
right.
everybody.